The story begins at Shihai First Academy, the most prestigious academy in the world. Director Yun stands before the students, his voice calm yet firm, reminding them that this day marks the most important moment of their lives, the Day of Destiny. He urges them to follow in the footsteps of Xiang, a distinguished graduate who once reached level 80 in the Saint class. Among the crowd sits Muyo, a quiet and brilliant student, as composed as ever. His friend Young leans toward him with a grin. "So, what's your plan for today, my friend?" he asks. Muyo stays silent. Young chuckles and continues. "All right then, I'll tell you mine. I want to become a knight, someone who protects everyone, and I'm sure you'll get a combat profession too." Another classmate interrupts mockingly. "Forget about Muyo. He never talks. We all know he'll end up with some livelihood profession. His future depends on luck anyway." But Young frowns and replies seriously, "No, Muyo isn't ordinary. I know him better than anyone." As the chatter continues, Master Xian enters the hall and Director Yun greets him with deep respect. It is then that we understand this world isn't just one of dungeons and monsters. It also has safe zones, places where people live peacefully. Yet beyond those boundaries lies a vast, dangerous unknown that few dare to face. In this world exist many professions, divided into combat classes like warriors and mages, and livelihood classes, such as cooks, farmers, and tailors. The examination begins. The first student obtains the farmer profession and cries out in despair, "My future is ruined!" The next one becomes a cook, prompting Master Xian to smile and say, "It's been a long time since a rare class appeared." "I hope your students don't disappoint you today, Director Yun." Then comes the turn of Shi, one of the academy's top students. She steps forward proudly and declares, "Today is the day I'll prove who I truly am." Master Xian watches with approval. "Her mental aptitude is exceptional," he says. "I have high hopes for her." Suddenly, a powerful explosion shakes the hall, and snow begins to fall, swirling around her. The crowd gasps as her profession is revealed, Sorceress of the Four Elements, a class so rare it's spoken of only in legends. Whispers fill the hall, admiration in every voice. She bows gracefully to thank her mentors. Yet behind her polite smile hides a shadow of bitterness. She secretly despises Muyo, who has always outperformed her in academics. Finally, it is Muyo's turn. Director Yun turns to the academy's sage and asks for his opinion. The old man studies Muyo quietly and replies, "That boy is calm and confident, as if he already knows his place." The awakening ritual begins. The air grows heavy, and the sky above the academy darkens to ashen gray. Thunder rolls as a black omen cloud spreads, its echo resembling an army of spirits marching from the heavens. Moments later, the energy surges into Muyo's body, and the crystal tablet declares his fate. A unique profession, not rare, but one of a kind, the Dark Necromancer. A unique profession means it will never appear again. Even if its bearer dies, it will vanish from existence forever. The students murmur among themselves. Some laugh nervously. "So what if it's unique? That doesn't mean it's strong." Others shiver in fear, unable to look him in the eye. Master Xian steps closer, his curiosity piqued. "Young man, one moment please. What kind of profession is this? I've never seen anything like it." Muyo extended his hand, summoning a skeleton warrior of the iron rank. The creature clattered forward, its hollow eyes glowing faintly. But then the skeleton turned toward Master Xian, raising its weapon as if seeking permission to erase him. "Stop," Muyo commanded firmly. The skeleton froze instantly. Silence filled the hall. Master Xian's expression shifted from surprise to awe. "I see now. This profession is far more than just unique. It holds power beyond comprehension." Then, with a faint smile, he added, "Thank you, Muyo. I understand everything now." Young, ever curious, leaned forward with excitement. "Can I touch the skeleton?" he asked jokingly. Before Muyo could answer, The examiner called out, "Young, it's your turn for the test." Young laughed and waved to his friend. "Later, buddy. My destiny awaits." Muyo said, "I have a summoning capacity of 10 skeletons." He whispered to himself that he would surely become stronger. At that moment, Young exclaimed excitedly, "Didn't I tell you I'd become a knight? I've finally finished my trial." Dr. Yun smiled and addressed the students. "Whatever profession you've obtained, remember that you can always develop it to reach higher ranks. Now you have 1 week only. The beginner dungeons are open. Use this chance to grow stronger and earn your place in the top academies." Muyo thought for a moment and said, "The monsters inside those dungeons range from level 1 to level 8, relatively safe." Then she interrupted him. "I want to be your rival, Muyo." Although Muyo remained silent, she continued confidently, "Take that as your agreement. Prepare yourself for the test." When Muyo returned home, he took a picture of his family in his hands and smiled. "Grandmother, I finally achieved our dream today." Then, gazing at his sister's photo, he said softly, "Very soon, I will see you again at the great Jia Zhang Academy." Just then, a knock came at the door. Muyo opened it to find Director Yun standing there, holding some equipment. "I promised your sister I'd look after you, Muyo," he said warmly. "Today, I've kept that promise." That night, Muyo sat in silence, focusing on his newfound power. He began linking the dark necromancer profession to his body to unlock the passive damage skill, a power that redirects any damage he receives to his summoned creatures instead. He then summoned a bronze-tier beast as his companion for training, and said, "There's no time to waste." Without hesitation, he set off toward the dungeon trials announced by the director. Along the way, Young caught up with him and said, "Let's form a team." But Muyo replied calmly, "No, working together will only slow me down." Young frowned in frustration, but she stepped in and said, "He's right. If the experience points aren't shared, one person can level up much faster." The director nodded slightly and advised, "At least consider taking support classes with you, especially Yushi, since you're aiming for an elite academy." However, none of the other students dared to join Muyo, frightened by the undead creatures that followed him. Muyo simply turned to the director and said quietly, "It's fine. I plan to work alone from the start." The director sighed and replied, "But this is your first trial. You have only a week. Don't waste it on reckless experiments. Even your sister Mohan began with support classes and eventually reached one of the best universities, as you know." Muyo smiled confidently. "Don't worry," he said. Then she called out to him, "And don't forget about our rivalry." Muyo chuckled under his breath. "She's really set her sights on me. Looks like she's serious this time." Finally, Muyo entered the dungeon. He began by summoning 4 skeleton knights based on the strength of his spiritual energy, and swiftly defeated the level 1 monsters, reaching level 2 within just 30 minutes. His summoning capacity increased to 20 skeletons, so he summoned 2 more, and the battle intensified. Using his abilities, he unleashed the flame skill on a feline monster, incinerating it within seconds. His power surged as he advanced to level 3, summoning 3 additional warriors. He kept fighting non-stop until he muttered to himself, "I've reached level 8. I'll definitely qualify for the academy now." Meanwhile, in another part of the city, Director Yun sat with Shi's father discussing Muyo's sister, who had managed to reach level 5 on her very first day. Shi's father smiled confidently and said, "If she achieves the same results, she'll undoubtedly be accepted into the best academy in the city." We return now to Moyu, who can control skeletons from a distance of 500 meters. After 8 hours, most of which he spent inside the dungeon, we learned that Moyu has reached level 3, and he set out into the forests in search of more monsters until he encountered a giant whip tree. He commanded his army to advance upon it. They attacked until they destroyed it. Moyu then said, "Very well, there are more trees of this kind in the forest now," and he continued to slaughter them until he emerged from the woods. Outside, the instructors asked who had just appeared and left the dungeon, and they were told, "This is Moyu." The director was stunned. Moyu had emerged having reached level 7 after defeating all the monsters by himself. "I have never heard of anything like this," the director said, and then added, "All right, Moyu, I will arrange a better place for you soon." Everyone was amazed and asked the director why he had come out so early, and Moyu answered, "I cleared the whole dungeon alone." The news spread and shocked everyone, including Shi's father, who said, "My daughter has been competing with him for a long time." The director spoke plainly. "Theoretically and practically, Moyu is number 1 at the academy." Thus we understood why Shi always hated that youth in everything, like Nair and Nakir. We returned to Moyu, who now said, "I can summon 24 skeletons at present, but the total capacity for skeletons is 70 as a maximum." At that moment, Shi, who had reached level 5, appeared and cried out, "Where is poor Moyu? I want to see him at once." The girl was astonished to learn that Moyu had reached level 7. Her companion said to her, "I'm standing right here now," and she replied, "You did not tell me that you always compete with that boy." She told them, "He is a foolish lad, and I will defeat him easily." They answered, "Even if you told us that the dungeon is faster than everyone." And she was shocked again when she realized that he had come out faster than she had. On the opposite side, Yang said to Moyu, "Come on, tell us honestly how you reached level 7 so easily." And Moyu replied, "Do not worry, next time I will take you with me." The next day, Yang asked the director, "Where is Moyu?" And the director said, "He set out beyond the city." Yang scolded him in his usual tone, "You cheat, you rogue Moyu. I will see you later." Moyu went to the city guard, who asked if he was sure he wanted to leave the safe walls after reaching level 7. The guard replied, "Generally, I will let you pass as long as you hold a permit to go out." Moyu said, "Leaving the walls offers no safety. I may meet any monster." Suddenly, a Freet of level 10 appeared to attack him. But before the skeletons, there was no comparison. So Moyu sent his private army to strike them and to clear the area completely. While he wondered how his sister had reached level 16 before taking the university exam, we learned that Moyu had now reached level 10. He said, "To enter level 11, I must kill 3 times what I killed before," and at the same time he noticed that the skeletons had ascended to bronze rank, which would greatly increase their power. Suddenly, Moyu noticed a sudden attack. An arrow pierced his body, but the damage transferred to his subordinate skeletons. He scanned his surroundings with vigilant eyes and saw a girl. He realized she belonged to the followers of the chosen profession. 2 of them shoved the girl and drove her away, and one of them asked her, "Did you not see someone pass here a short while ago?" The girl addressed Moyu, "Your arrow struck me. I apologize first for my matter." One of them apologized, while the other was annoyed and said, "We could kill him easily." His companion replied, "Hold on now," and they withdrew and moved off. In the end, we understand that Moyu was dominant over the region of imps. He realized he needed to slay 1,000 imps just to reach the next level, so he thought to himself that there was no time to waste here. He ordered his army to drive the imps away, then descended to rest and recover a bit. If I reach level 13 tomorrow, he wondered, will I have enough time to reach level 15 or not? He recalled that his sister had reached level 16, and he remembered that on the day before her exam, she had returned covered in wounds, which meant she had faced something far beyond what anyone at her power could handle now. Suddenly, the same girl Moyu had seen in the morning appeared before him and asked, "Do you have any food with you?" Moyu handed her some of his rations. She then asked for his name, but he stayed silent. She said, "If you don't want to talk, we can link our skills instead." Yet even then, Moyu couldn't discern anything about her abilities. The girl examined him and said, "Your name is Moyu, level 10, but your profession's title, this is the first time I've ever seen such a thing." When she asked why he wouldn't speak, he replied coldly, "What do you want right now?" She smiled faintly and said, "So you can talk after all. Don't you know why my skills didn't appear to you earlier?" Then she revealed a small emblem on her chest, a shield crest that hides all information about its bearer. When she removed it, Moyu tried again and discovered she was an assassin at level 19. Suddenly, the 3 warriors who had been chasing her that morning appeared, and the situation grew tense. Before she could escape using her shadow skill, her location was marked by a tracking arrow, one impossible to deceive or evade. The young man sneered, "You belong to us now. That boy beside you must be your partner." But the girl quickly replied, "Moyu has nothing to do with this." She turned to him and said, "Run, I'll try to hold them off." Moyu, however, knew there was no way she could escape after being hit by the tracking arrow. He launched his attack immediately. The same man who had tried to kill him earlier shouted, "Your turn has come now," and activated the light skill as Moyu summoned one of his skeletal warriors. The girl cried out, "Moyu, run away now!" But the archer unleashed 3 deadly arrows, forcing the girl to intercept them, while skeletal soldiers emerged from every direction to block the incoming attacks. The tide of battle turned instantly. The warriors shouted in disbelief, "How can this spirit mage be only level 10 and yet we can't defeat him?" Moyu's undead army advanced relentlessly, showing them that this was the end. He then called forth more than 40 armored warriors from all sides. Even the girl herself was stunned. How can he summon all of these, she thought. Though Moyu was merely level 10 and his enemies were level 20, they couldn't withstand him. Through Moyu's eyes and his activation of the spirit skill, the army advanced, crushing the enemy's defenses and wiping them clean from the battlefield. The girl whispered, "They're all dead," and from their remains, Moyu obtained a great number of armors and weapons. The girl explained that those men had been hunting her for a mid-tier scroll. Then she looked at Moyu and said, "It seems you haven't acquired a scroll yet. How about trying this one?" Moyu used the simple scroll, and from it he obtained a random skill known as Corpse Explosion. He learned that the explosion's radius was only 1 meter, and he thought to himself that it wasn't strong enough yet, but eventually it would expand to 10 meters. The girl then asked, "So, what skill did you learn this time?" Moyu didn't respond, so she smiled and said, "All right then, take this gift for saving me." She handed him a medium-tier scroll, through which he could gain a skill ranging from level 40 to level 70. The value of that scroll alone exceeded 1 million gold coins. Moyu realized that this was the very same scroll those pursuers were after, the one the girl had found in a side cave. She said softly, "After being chased for 2 whole days, I can finally rest now." Moyu replied, "Take care of yourself from now on." The girl responded confidently, "Don't worry. Even if I'm badly injured, I can teleport away instantly. Still, that doesn't mean I shouldn't thank you." From her words, Moyu understood that she must belong to a powerful family. Only someone of high status could own such an item. She then asked, "Are you here to increase your level or for something else?" Moyu replied, "Yes, I'm training to prepare for admission into Shijiang University." The girl smiled. "That university is truly lucky to have you. I saw how you defeated 3 warriors twice your level with ease. When you join the university, don't forget Bergenich. If you clear the first trial, you'll receive double rewards for the first time. So in that first challenge, try to clear as many floors as possible. The higher you go, the more points you'll earn, which can even be exchanged for gold." She continued talking with him late into the night, telling him many things, until she finally fell asleep. Moyu then sat quietly, using his meditation skill to recover his energy. The next morning, the girl said, "I have to go now. See you later, Moyu." After she left, Moyu looked at the corpses of his enemies and said, "Let's test this new skill." He began detonating the corpses one by one, murmuring with satisfaction, "Indeed, as time passes, the power of these explosions will become unstoppable." Just one corpse is enough, and if I can trigger it in the air, the destructive force will multiply. Afterward, he headed toward Shi's dungeon, where he discovered that his skeletons had now ascended and possessed far greater spiritual energy than before. Because of that, Moyu could only summon 4 of them at once. As he walked, he saw several warriors near the dungeon forming battle teams. He thought to himself, entering the nightmare level will be difficult, but in the end, it'll be worth every ounce of effort. One of the leaders called out, "Would you like to join us? We're about to attempt the nightmare level too." But Moyu calmly replied, "No thank you," then selected nightmare difficulty on his own. The students murmured that the madman had entered the nightmare difficulty alone, as if he intended to throw his life away. Inside, Moyu felt a strong will to kill, and he began to scan the monsters to learn that they were far above the levels he had been fighting outside. And he thought, now I understand why they form teams, but I am alone, yet I have a complete team. And he started cutting down the beasts one by one, since a single monster now granted him 4,200 experience, 10 times the foes he had faced before. So Moyu grew eager to finish them all and reached level 11 in only 5 minutes. Then he said, now I can summon 4 additional skeletons after increasing my mental capacity. And at the same time he realized that the skeleton's abilities had doubled. He cleared the first floor of the dungeon until the area boss appeared, the Mine Wolf King, at level 15. And Moyu noted that while the king was stronger than a single skeleton, their numbers were greater than his. So he ordered his troops to attack and initiated his basic skills until the wolf tried to flee. He commanded them, "Do not attack unless I order it." A large pack of wolves rushed out to defend their leader, and Moyu observed that though none were individually powerful, their numbers exceeded 100 wolves literally, slaughtering them, and used the corpse explosion skill, so that a single blast could take out 5 or 6 at once. Finally, he finished the wolf boss, yet the experience points remained insufficient. So he resolved to continue into the second part of the cave, and kept cutting down monsters until he reached the Imp King. Knowing that if he killed that king now, he would advance to level 12 in strength. The Imp King charged at Moyu, and his power crushed and broke some of Moyu's skeletons, because this mighty imp was stronger than the undead. Moyu saw that the king's defense was weak, but he commanded a full army of the dead. After heavy fighting, the imp slew many of them, so Moyu ordered a tactical withdrawal to buy time until he could let the Imp King deliver his killing blow without any minion being harmed. Then he resummoned them to fight, and by this effective method, the damage fell heavily upon the beast until Moyu destroyed it completely and looted a bronze imp sword, the robe of wisdom, and the red heart of the Imp King. And of course, he leveled up to level 12 in power. He donned the robe of wisdom, which increased his stamina and wisdom, and he thought, the Imp King's heart is worth more than 100,000 gold coins. Put it aside for now. And he left the dungeon, while the students exclaimed, "Is that the same boy who entered earlier? How did he obtain the robe of wisdom? This means he killed the final boss." Moyu then went to a tree to gather his scattered strength and said to himself, "Now I understand every hiding place in this dungeon to the last detail, and next time when I enter it, I will clear it faster and stronger." After 12 hours of the dungeon's cooldown, Moyu had fully recovered his strength. He then saw a group of warriors arguing with the Lineage Guild, which had forbidden anyone from entering the dungeon at that time. One of the guild members shouted, "Our leader is inside. No one is allowed to enter until he's finished." When a warrior protested, they killed him instantly. Moyu asked calmly, "What's going on here?" One of the onlookers replied, "The Lineage Guild is blocking everyone for no reason. The truth is, they're after the Demon King's heart." Mo Yu remembered the heart he had taken before and asked, "Is it really that important?" The man nodded quickly. "Of course, the heart can be forged into the Demon King's ring. It multiplies all your powers by 10 and increases all your skills by 1 level, but you can only use it after reaching level 15. That ring is the strongest item anyone can rely on up to level 40. That's why the leader of the Lineage Guild needs it to qualify for Zhaozhang Academy." Mo Yu immediately turned toward the cave. "Where are you going?" someone shouted. "You'll get yourself killed." But Mo Yu simply warned the guild members not to approach him. They sneered, "You're only level 12. Where did you get the nerve?" Then they attacked, but one of Mo Yu's skeletons blocked their strike. One of the guild fighters used Ring of Fire to push the skeleton back, and their leader roared, "What are you waiting for? Attack him now!" The skeleton countered and crushed the first attacker with a single blow. The others charged at Mo Yu directly, forcing him to summon 2 more skeletons to shield him from the incoming attacks. Then the vice captain activated Infernal Cataclysm, one of the devouring skills, and laughed arrogantly, "This time, you have no chance against me." But Mo Yu's skeleton army stood firm, fighting with relentless will even as their strength began to fade. Reinforcements arrived just in time to turn the tide. During the chaos, Mo Yu struck down one of the fighters and commanded his entire army to launch a combined assault, shattering the enemy's defenses until the guild realized their end was near. Finally, Mo Yu unleashed Corpse Explosion, obliterating the entire Lineage Guild squad in one devastating blast. One of the bystanders gasped, "That boy is a walking disaster." Another muttered, "The Lineage Guild will never forgive him for this." At that moment, the guild leader himself appeared. He too had failed to obtain the Demon King's heart. His face twisted in fury as he demanded, "Where are my men? What happened to them?" One of his subordinates stammered, "Perhaps they left the area. I'll send them a message right away." An hour later, Mo Yu had already defeated the dungeon boss for the 2nd time, obtaining the Demon King's spellbook and another Demon King's heart, though this one was of lower grade. He mused, "It seems the heart I acquired the first time won't drop again." We then understood that he had reached level 13. Mo Yu thought to himself, "With the time I have left, maybe I can enter the dungeon a few more times and reach level 16, but it won't be easy." He left the dungeon to find no one waiting for him. The next day we saw Shi, the elemental mage, struggling at level 10, only to be shocked by Mo Yu's sudden appearance. "He must be waiting for another team," she muttered, "but I won't lose to him again." 45 minutes later, Mo Yu had once more slain the Demon King as effortlessly as before. Even the creature seemed exhausted by now. Mo Yu smiled faintly and said, "Sorry, but I have no other choice but you." It was clear that he continued killing the Demon King over and over until he finally reached level 14, before leaving to rest a bit and prepare for what was next. She asked, "What level have you reached now?" Mo Yu replied, 14. She was stunned, then laughed and said, "After I cleared the dungeon twice, I barely reached level 11, and that was with difficulty." And she added, "Tomorrow I'll show you what I can do, so stop looking for a team." After she truly strained herself and reached level 12, Mo Yu asked, "What good will that challenge do you?" She answered, "I will not lose to you." Mo Yu muttered, "This nuisance will not leave me alone today." She said, "It is not only for that reason. My dream is to enter Zhang Academy and excel there in the end." Mo Yu said, "There is only one solution. Enter the Nightmare Tier Dungeon." She objected, "But that requires level 17, and I'm still level 12, and no one will accept taking me with them." Mo Yu asked, "Tell me, why don't you wait 12 hours between dungeon attempts like I do?" She replied, "Look at this talisman. With it, I do not need to wait 12 hours to clear the dungeon again, and I can enter an unlimited number of times." And we learned the talisman had 7 uses remaining. Mo Yu asked, "How much is that talisman?" She said, "Very expensive. Even my father was upset when he bought it, but there was no other solution, and besides, only 2 days remain, and I must finish quickly and reach level 15. Mo Yu offered a deal. "I will get you to level 15, and I will use the 7 remaining charges of the talisman with you." She agreed immediately, and after they rested for 2 hours, they set out for the dungeon. She warned him, "This is the nightmare level. You risk your life." Moyu had already entered, so she said, "If you want to die, then die alone now." Moyu told her, "Stay close to me," and he began clearing the dungeon before her. He finished the Wolf King using the corpse explosion skill, and experience poured in upon them literally. She told him, "You're used to this now." He replied, "Since level 10, I've been doing the same thing." She was shocked as Moyu neared clearing the dungeon in 10 minutes only. She said, "We spent a whole hour to reach this place." In the end, Moyu killed the final boss and reached level 15, leaving she with a quarter of a level to reach level 12. And he told her, "If you need any gear that dropped from the boss, take what you want. I have plenty." She chose the Imp King's staff, and Moyu also gave her the spell book to boost her power later. Moyu continued killing dungeon bosses repeatedly, and they replayed the scene multiple times. And with the 7 remaining uses exhausted, we learned she had reached level 14. She told him, "At this rate, you should be the next district champion." Moyu said, "I don't understand what you mean." And she explained, "The district champion gains a special number of points that will benefit you when entering the academy. I have a strong feeling you will be that champion." When they left, we saw Yang, at level 11, signaling to someone to guard the dungeon entrance. Moyu said to her, "Let us join them. That way we will have completed our quests." They met Yang, who joked, "Congratulations! When do we put on the badge?" She smiled and teased back, "What are you talking about? Everyone saw you searching for a team like a stray dog, so we decided to take you in." Yang laughed, "You are truly my brothers. The academy we aim for only requires me to reach level 12. They rested briefly, then set out together for the dungeon. Yang protested in disbelief. "This is the nightmare tier, and there are only 3 of us. Are you insane?" She snapped playfully, "If you talk again, I'll toss you out." And Yang surrendered with a grin. "Fine, I'll be quiet." Moyu pressed on, cutting down monsters until he felled the final boss. Yang stared, bewildered, and begged, "Take me with you. Never leave me alone." Moyu answered, "I'll bring you along one day." She laughed and scolded him lightly, "Stop whining. What's with your mood swings?" When they emerged, each had reached the required level. The headmaster arrived to check on his students before the university entrance exam. A teacher asked, "I heard some of your students want to enter Jiazhang Academy. Is that true?" The headmaster replied, "Yes, Moyu and she have planned this for a long time, but I don't know if they have reached level 15 yet." One Jin student reached level 12, and another reached level 13, and then the strong trio, Moyu, she, and Yang, appeared. The headmaster said, "I hope you bring good news." Yang indeed had reached level 12, and she had reached level 15, and the headmaster nodded. "I believe she now has an 80% chance to enter the academy." Then Moyu finally reached level 16, which stunned 3 instructors. They noted that his weapons proved he had cleared the dungeon many times. The headmaster told the students to board the bus and said, "Rest up. Tomorrow we move to the site of the final exam." Moyu thought, "Now that I'm level 16, I can transfer to Jiazhang Academy. I can be at ease." The next morning, Moyu set out for the exam and met Yang and Shi. Each participant was handed a stone. Whoever shattered the stone would be transported immediately to the testing ground. Moyu moved to his exam area and found more than 10,000 applicants vying for the same test. The test tower was activated, and the rules were announced plainly. Speaking inside the tower is forbidden, and any utterance will be judged a definite failure. The students nervously asked, "If we cannot speak, how can we clear the tower?" The one who asked that question was expelled, proof of how strict the rules were. The instructors explained that combat class students would face a special trial, and support class students would have their own separate exams. After completing the first stage, each candidate would choose 3 difficulty levels. The higher the chosen difficulties, the greater the final points earned. We learned that these points would matter to the universities, so much so that their value could surpass gold. Equipment changes were also banned inside the test. The weapon you select will stay with you until the end. What will happen in the exam? What surprises await? Stay tuned. If you enjoyed the tale, we will release more chapters, perhaps 2 in one day as before, depending on your support. Like, comment, and share the story everywhere. See you in the next part. Farewell.